Okay, this lesson is going to cover our standard EE.1. It's apply properties of operations as strategies to add, subtract, factor, expand linear expressions with rational coefficients. So your objectives are going to be know the difference between an expression and equation and simplify expressions by combining like terms. So we're going to talk about combining like terms first. Here's some vocabulary that you may need to review to brush up on, make sure you understand. A term is a number or the product of a number and a variable. That's the term. So example, 5 could be a term, negative 12p could be a term, 35m cubed could be a term. The next term that you need to be familiar with is constant. A constant is a number with no variable next to it, no letter. So 15, 35.074, negative 22, 1 are all examples of constants. All right, so the next one, like terms, have identical variables with the same exponents. Has nothing to do with the number in front of it. It's just identical letters, X, Y, B, A. So examples, 4m squared and negative 8m squared have their like terms because they have the same variable. 17x and x are like terms. 8y cubed, k to the second, and negative 2 k to the second, y to the third are like terms. All right, a coefficient is a number that multiplies a variable. So example, 4x, the number in front of your variable is your coefficient. So example, 4x, 4 is your coefficient, negative 13y, negative 13 would be your coefficient, and 54mn, 54 would be your coefficient. All right, so if we look at this page right here, identify the like terms. All right, so if we look at these, all these different terms, can you find the ones that are the same? So look right here first at 9xy. Do you see any more that has just xy on it? So here's one. So those would be like terms. Right here, mx squared y. Do you see any other ones that say mx squared y? So I don't see any. So right here, if you see 4x squared y, do we see any more that say x squared y? Yes, right here. They're not in the same order, but they are like terms. And then we have negative 13 x squared y. That is a like term. Okay, and then we have right here, let's see, we have negative 13. Where's our x squared y? Right here. So those are all like terms because the variables are the same. All right, so when you start combining like terms, if you have like terms on the same side of an equation is an equal sign, you can combine them through addition and subtraction. So right here we have an example, 8x plus 3x. We can combine those to make 11x equals 77, and you just bring that number down, that stays the same. So our next example here, a negative 8p minus a negative 3p equals 5f plus 12 minus 13f. So see, we have like terms right here. We can combine those to make a negative 8x. F, and then you just bring the 12 down. And the same thing right here on this side. A -8 minus a -3 is a -5p. So that is combining like terms. You've completed it. All right, so distributive property and combining like terms. You'll hear me say sometimes that you can't add different terms. I say you can't add apples and oranges. So this is a picture of a saying like that. We're going to use the distributive property. So 3 times 2 sheep equals 6 sheep. And then plus 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And then you just bring your minus 2 sheep down. Then if you finish combining them, you have 6 sheep minus 2 sheep. That's going to be 4 sheep. And then you bring your 12 down. That's all you can do to that equation. Okay, so this is when we start getting into different terms. So we have a -13 alligators plus 4 pigs. Then we got the distributive property over here. Minus 3 alligators minus 2 pigs. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is simplify that distributive property right there. So just bring this down, -13 alligators plus 4 pigs minus 12 alligators minus a -8 pigs. So right here, a negative and a negative we know is a positive. So now we're just going to combine all of our like terms. So we have a -13 alligators and a -12 alligators. That equals a -25 alligators. And then plus 12 pigs. And that is as far as you can combine. All right, so now if we're using just our coefficients and variables, this is what it would look like. And I have some students that will try to add the X and Y together, and you can't do that. And so you'll hear me say you can't add apples and oranges. You can't smush them up and make one fruit out of both of them. So you have 6 parentheses 2x plus y plus 2y minus 12x. You're just going to bring those down. But over here, 6 times 2x is 12x plus 6 times y is 6y. So if we combine those, we have a 12x minus a 12x. That's going to leave you with 0. And then you have 6y plus 2y, that equals 8y. So you have simplified that expression as far as it can go. All right, so let's practice. You try this one on your own. You have 3 plus 4x plus 7. Okay, so you try this one on your own. See if you can figure out what goes together and what stays by itself. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. See if you can figure it out. You can write it down if you need to. Okay, so first thing I want to discuss with you is I wanted to explain to you the difference between an expression and an equation. All right, this 3 plus 4x plus 7 plus x is an expression because it does not have an equal sign. Okay, if it had an equal sign like this, we're just going to say equals 22, that would be an equation. So hint, if it has an equal sign equals equation, okay? So let's see if you got the right answer for this. All right, so we combine like terms. We're going to combine the 4x plus x. We pretend like there's a 1 in front of the x. So that will be 5x. Then we're going to combine the 3 and the 7 because those do not have variables. They're by themselves. So that's going to be 10. 3 plus 7 equals 10. So our answer to combining like terms for this is 5x plus 10. Okay, so here's another practice one. Okay, combining like terms using the distributive property. See if you can do this one on your own real fast. Okay, you can write it down or you can do it in your head. All right, so let's take a look. All right, if we take 3 times 4x, that's going to be 12x. And then 3 times 6 is 18. So the answer to this question is 12x plus 18. Okay, so that is the simple of combining like terms. We're going to have some practice. I want you to practice after doing this. And let me know if you have any questions.